This is Looks Good on Paper, a podcast from Willow about flipping the script on traditional hiring. I'm Ian Chohan, and every episode I put big voices in hiring and work culture through 3 quick-fire questions, speed dating style, to get the habits, trends, and ideas that matter. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Looks Good on Paper podcast powered by Willow. I'm so excited to have Anu Joshi join us today. Anu is the head of talent with a whopping 17 years of experience. Like, wow, you've probably seen it all. 17 years of experience building and scaling talent acquisition functions across venture studios, AI, B2B SaaS, fintech, prop tech, global consulting. Oh my goodness, what haven't you done? She's currently the director of talent at FutureSight, where she leads executive and leadership hiring, including CEOs, CTOs, founding engineers, and early GTM leaders. I'm really excited to have you here today. I feel like you've probably seen a lot. You probably see it in your day to day. And I'm excited to chat with you about what a world of hiring could look like if we decentered the CV. Welcome. How did you get to this role? How did you get here in your career?
Well, thank you so much, Anita, for having me here. Very excited to be on Looks Good on Paper. And, I have so many thoughts I want to share, but I promise you I'll pick and choose the best ones today. um, well, it's been a very interesting ride for me over the past 17 plus years. As I look back on my journey, I think there are 3 distinct parts to it. And like you said, there's been global consulting firms, there have been startups, and now in the venture studio space, right? So I started my journey in a big global consulting organization. Very quickly was leading a very high performing team there. As an early 20 something, I did not realize that this could happen to me or for
Yeah.
me. Had a great sort of run there. Had an opportunity to work for a year in Europe. So that was my first exposure to sort of talent, global talent, I would say. And then, like, I want to say the startup bug bit me. And I was like, okay, so here's where everything is structured. I'm doing really well for myself. My team is growing. But then let me go find something very scrappy to do. And
Yeah.
that's how I entered the startup ecosystem. And that's where the second part of my journey started. I've had the privilege of working with some very high performing, founders, co founders. And that's where I think I got a peek into behind the scenes, if you will, like to think about business at large, to think about budgeting, to think about how your talent decisions are going to impact the organization.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where I think my strategic approach to talent really started. From there, I think I'm in phase 3 of my, or like stage 3 of my career, where I am, like you said, head of talent for a venture studio. And I am responsible for very early stage B2B talent at very early stage B2B AI companies, right from sort of finding the right co founders for these opportunities that we are excited to build to finding the right co-founding team for them to aid their growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting journey so far.
Amazing. You've seen so much. What I really love about what you said was in the second kind of part of your career and that second journey. First of all, we've all been bitten by the startup bug at one point. But what I really loved what you said was this idea of how talent impacts your bottom line and how it hits
Yes.
every function, budgets, business, your ROI, everything comes down to the which isn't controversial, like really in essence, but so many people I feel Anu don't consider these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy for us to not be thinking about anything beyond, how am I hiring my next person? Or it's easy for us to only be thinking about I need to be promoting a certain DEI initiative. So let me go find one partner and let me just rely on their strategy. But I think it's as talent leaders, it's almost imperative for us to think beyond just our function. You have to be a true sort of an arm to the business, a true partner to the business for us to really sort of contribute positively. And I mean, we are seeing so many layoffs in the market right now. And
Yes.
there is a part that talent partnership plays here. Like when a hiring manager comes to you and says, hey, I want to bring this person on the team, it's sort of really your responsibility to understand what is the talent gap that they're trying to fill. For that matter, one of the things very early on in my career that I was persistent about with hiring teams was that, um, hire junior people, give them an opportunity to grow in your organization and promote internally. Like if you see capability internally, then give them an opportunity to grow. I mean, there's loyalty they have shown you, like reward the loyalty, reward
Absolutely.
the relevance that they bring to the ecosystem, right? Yeah, it's an interesting time, with, just like we were talking, with advent of Gen AI and everybody saying, oh, it's going to take our jobs. So now more than ever, as talent leaders, we need to step up. We need to see what's happening and we need to see how we can partner with business. At that same time, have the back of our teams, really.
Yes, agreed. 100%. This is a really nice segue into our first question. You know the drill, 3 questions, rapid speed dating style. And the first one is, what's the biggest hiring mistake companies keep making, even though it's clearly not working? And I feel like you see a lot of companies, so I'm excited to hear your response to this.
It's sort of crazy to say that one of the biggest sort of mistakes that I've consistently seen hiring managers make or hiring teams make is making hiring decisions based off of feeling, like based off of gut feeling coming out of an
Mm,
interview. And here's my problem with that. Interviews inherently are very high pressure, high performance driven, situations. Every candidate that comes to an interview wants to show their best self. I mean, no matter how excited about the role or not, the ones that can really perform in an interview are telling you what they think you want to hear.
yes.
And the ones that buckle under pressure, unfortunately, they
Yeah.
fumble, they freeze, they are not able to present their best selves to you during that 1 hour or half an hour that you've given them to show who they are. And when the hiring teams come off out of these interviews and they tell me, oh, I feel this is a better fit than somebody else that I met. And I'm like, but yeah, beyond that feeling, what is the skill that they showed you? What's the competency you're going off of? So I feel like when you're making hiring decisions on interview, on your feeling coming out of an interview,
Yeah.
you're really rewarding interview performance and not
Yeah.
rewarding their skills or abilities that they bring. So that's my problem. So that's one of the key drivers in interview processes for me is, like I said, again, going back to the basics. What is the gap you're trying to fill? What is it that your team does not have currently? And by gap, I mean the abilities, the
Yeah.
competencies that is required on your team to do this job well. And then we have to build our assessment criteria based off of that. And while, of course, it's a human you're talking to, and
Yeah.
there has to be human elements that are considered in the process, but then it has to be objective. So an Anita versus
Absolutely.
Anu have to be assessed against the same things and
Yeah.
not different things, not based on feeling. So that's
Absolutely.
my opinion for sure.
I love that. I think what really strikes me here as well is like, I think intuitively a lot of people leaders might know what's needed, but checking yourself is really important. Also, like hiring managers sometimes. Like I think I've been a leader of a department leader for marketing and things like that. And as a hiring manager, I would definitely be like, oh, I'm going to trust my gut. I've been wrong. I've definitely been wrong. And so, in a sense, what think you're basically saying is kind of like an arts and a science, right? Like, I like the idea that, sometimes we intuitively know what we need. If you're a really
Yeah.
good people leader, you can pick up on it. So I don't want to like ignore that, right? But at the same time, like, we need to see what the competencies are. That skill set is important. And that's why I think that we're seeing kind of also other leaders, what I'm seeing is more increase in skills-based hiring or figuring out a way to allow these people to show those skills in a non-pressurized environment, let's say.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I've consistently, a competency that I've built within my own, like, especially recruiters, recruitment teams, is that you have to, it's on you as an interviewer to build an environment where the candidate is not pressured to either perform and like deliver to what they think needs to be delivered, or not
Mhm.
pressured so much that they are not able to put their, like, really talk to you about their past achievements, talk to you about their skills, talk to you about really what they bring to the table. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's a fine balance, like you said.
Yeah.
And then I think it's as the talent teams, as usually more often than not, the first people to be the face of the organization. Maybe we set the stage for it, really.
Yeah. Personally, well, This is a podcast powered by Willow, and we create a scenario where you can screen for those things, right, in a non-pressurized way. So I feel like things like tools like Willow really do supplement and like help people feel maybe more at ease in those moments. I do know that this is kind of the way of the future because, first of all, there's just so many applications coming through and candidates coming through that
Yes.
there's so how are you going to actually be able to like sift through those in a way that's also authentic from like the like talent leader's point of view to actually give them a fair shot to even get to them to that interview, right? So all of this I think really begins with that, first screening as well.
Yeah. Totally, totally. We set the stage for it. And there's a bigger responsibility on us than either we know or we want to believe. Definitely.
Absolutely. It really matters. And just before we jump to the next question, just like really reiterating or just reinforcing what you said at the beginning, the talent position in a company is actually a business like function, like a very important business function.
Yes, it is.
It is, right? So this is kind of the narrative as well that I want everybody to walk away with, where like it's all connected. Jumping into question number 2. What's a hidden bias companies unknowingly have, even when they think that they're being progressive in their hiring?
Like in my head, there are so many fighting for the number one spot. um, I would say something that I've consistently seen is sort of bias, not really bias for, but bias against less than typical career trajectories. And let me
Yeah.
explain what that means.
Yeah, please.
You know, more often than not, when you're working with a team to support their hiring, the first step that you do is share potential profiles. Like it could be LinkedIn, it could be their resume. So hiring managers have a bias for this is how the person on my team should have progressed to be then joining my team. And a lot of times, like we are all humans and life happens. So not everybody has perfect trajectory. Like there are people who have shorter tenures on their profiles or resumes. There are people who've had long breaks, and that's a lot of times because, like I said, life happens. I mean, there are people who need to take a break to maybe they are burnt out and they need to reset themselves to
Absolutely.
bring come back stronger. There are people who have aging family members that they need to care for. There are mothers. And this is like something very close to my heart. I've driven multiple initiatives where we've sort of brought on mothers who've taken career breaks, like sort of paved a path for them to come back
Saying.
into the ecosystem. And like I can talk for an hour about that.
Yeah,
I'm a
amazing.
mother myself, so I felt it.
Amazing. Yeah.
So, these things happen. So, when it's really disappointing and in a way heartbreaking for me when I see really good, credible candidates lose out against somebody else, because this
Yeah.
bias is nasty for like creeping in even without us consciously realizing it.
Great.
I mean, different people, same skill set, same years of experience, but when they see a less than perfect career trajectory, there's like a bias already in their mind against this candidate. And
Great.
it's a hard one, like I said, because you are not even realizing that it's happening to
Yeah.
you and you're
It's
building that.
insidious too, right? There are biases that we aren't even aware of, and we know like that they exist, but when you're so unaware, even like that you're doing it, right? How can you correct it?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And then, yeah, and what it does for your organization is you're potentially losing out on good talent. Like, and more often than not, like again, I've lived this experience of like being a mother, though also being a high performing mother. I my break was much smaller, which I don't advocate for. Just want to put it out there. You need to take the break that you need to take.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like there are usually when people have take these breaks, they are also being hard on themselves already because they
absolutely.
know that this bias exists. So they're like, I need to get back to this. I need to get back to this. So, and
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a sort of a responsibility for us as people who have these opportunities to be open to people having non-linear, career trajectories, less than
Agreed.
perfect career trajectories. I think if you were to give me a mandate saying, Anu, eliminate one bias, this will be the first one I'll go after.
Yeah, and because I think this one sets the stage for many different things that happen in your organization or like the talent that you lose, right? And again, if it's an imperative of growing the company and bringing the right people in, I think this ties back to what you had mentioned about, like internal hiring and growth within the company too, right? Like giving people a shot and giving them the opportunity to show themselves in the ways. Like a lot of what you're saying is just like let people be able to show who they are and shine in the ways that probably feel the best for them. And
Yes, yeah, let humans be humans.
awesome. So moving into question number 3, if you were to suddenly remove CVs from your current hiring process, what would that look like?
Can I be biased that this is my favorite question? Well, I mean, to me, as I think about it, it's exciting. This could be transformative, really. Um, CV, I think, is a way for us to feel safe. We all want to make the right hiring decisions within the SLA, within the right recruiting timeline. We want to bring in the best talent within our budget, all of those things. So I think CV gives us an opportunity to go on that path and set on that path. Going back to structured competency and skill framework to say what is the gap that we're filling. And
Hmm.
then based off of that, asking people for work samples.
Sure. Yeah.
Tell me about
Huge.
something you've done. I mean, show me an app that you've built.
Yeah.
And this is something I very recently implemented. We were hiring a founding engineer. But yeah, in all honesty, we didn't let go of the CV. We received like crazy response. There were so many people looking for opportunities. Um, and we wanted to be fair. We didn't want to eliminate based off of resume. So we went back, we gave them honest sort of insight into what this founding engineer opportunity will look like. So you can decide if this is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And then we told them, just send us a work sample.
Yeah.
Send us a video talking about something you built recently. Because through your um, thought process.
Thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah.
What is the path you took to it? What were the blockers you faced in your journey and how did you overcome them?
I love that.
And what was the like what was the end goal coming out of it? Like always it's not an ideal outcome, but what we were really looking for is how they navigated the situation. Not
Yes.
really did they build the world's best app. No, we were not looking for that. And we were totally open about use codex, use Claude code. I mean, that's the world we are in. We are not going to shy away from that. We are accepting it.
Yes. I
We
agree.
want to
Yeah.
see what is your unique capability skill, and that's what we are assessing for. And
Yeah.
honestly, we loved the process. We
Yeah. It
loved
worked
the
out.
process. Very recently, thankfully, made offer to an amazing candidate for that, and I took feedback. I took
Yeah.
feedback from them, and they loved it.
Amazing. Yeah. They like that process amongst all the others maybe that they've been
Yeah, they loved it.
through.
They're
Yeah.
like, this to me felt like I was telling you what I have already built or
Yeah.
how I think about it, and I didn't have to come up with some imaginary statement of proving it to you over a conversation or in my resume. So, yeah.
Love that. I love that. What's so beautiful about that is like that feedback is like, okay, it's good for both ends because one thing it's like we know that the candidate experience is lacking lately as well. So if you're able to do something where both parties win in this really great way, you got what you needed, you found the right fit, you did it in a way where you feel confident and hopefully there's good retention now too and joy in the role, but the person walks away feeling like I was seen and this is right for me.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And we are not basing our decision off of a document or we are not basing our decision off of how we felt talking to them.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah. Yeah.
basing our decision. I mean, of course, there were multiple discussions that they did with different team members, but one of the persistent endeavor for us has been that to make it more like a discussion versus an interview where we're putting you in a situation where you have to perform. It's really about mutual fit versus us assessing you for like things we believe or we feel. So it's been an
Actual
interesting
tangible
experience.
outcomes. Yeah, like show us your actual tangible outcomes. And like we're making decisions based off of that. There was one guest I had, Justin, who talked about how he got like 5,000 applications for one role. And he's like, not one of them sent me a portfolio or showed me their work. And if they had, I would have moved them to the top of the list. It would have been easier for me to be able to discern if they were going to be a good fit because it's also that first step of showing, like even before getting to like an interview process, like what you explained, you still do need to kind of show what you are capable of beyond just the CV.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to make now, especially with AI, which is a whole other conversation. But it's now like it's easy to be that perfect person on paper, right? And that's why we call it looks good on paper. But Now I'm going to ask you, I'm going to throw you a wild card question. One of the things like really related, obviously, to this influx of AI and stuff is a lack of feeling confident or a security and trust built into our hiring practices. How would you say that, people and talent leaders in HR functions could maybe feel more confident in their hiring decisions this year? Are there any things that you're seeing or trends?
Very interesting question, and the one that makes me think. I mean, there's good and bad to it, is how I see it at resume stage,
Yeah.
where there are actually tools out there that support you in building a resume that exactly speaks to the job description. And in my world, I feel that's really not doing anyone any good. Like,
No,
you are
agreed.
probably presenting something that you're not.
Yeah.
And for the organization, even if they end up hiring you, and like you perform well in the interviews, you tell them what you feel they want to hear, again based off of the JD, like,
Hmm.
are you able to deliver when you're brought on board?
Yeah.
That's the question. So that's, to me, less than ideal. I mean, you're presenting, probably, again, you're probably putting a version of you out there that you think they want to look at, or you
Absolutely.
think they want to look at based off of JD. So that's less than ideal for me. Also, we have to accept that AI is, I mean, used correctly, AI is supporting
Yeah,
productivity. Like,
that's
there
true.
are a lot of, whether we like it or not, as a talent function, there are operational parts of your work that you or your team have not ideally been fond of. I mean, and one of the things that I have personally battled with, especially in scrappy startups where you're optimizing for cost, right? So, in those cases, what usually happens is the burden of the operational process falls on the talent function. And I have personally very recently built Cloud Code skill to do that.
Nice. Nice.
So, I mean, it's
Amazing.
so funny. The journey I started with, and I'm not, while I have been a tech recruiter for endless years and always been on the tech side, but I've never coded myself, right? I've never built apps myself.
Yeah.
So I think there's a transition for us as talent leaders to accept that this is not about losing jobs. It's about our roles getting redefined.
Yeah.
It's about our
Agreed.
productivity metrics getting redefined, and it's about us accepting it and honestly making the most of it.
AI is changing how we hire, but it's also helping us operationally, to your point. So if we have a good base, then we can actually face and maybe weather some of the oncoming changes in a better way or provide better experiences for everybody involved. And I really do believe that. I think that it's just being thoughtful, to your point, and understanding. And also, we have to be adaptable throughout all of these things. Like, to your point, tech has changed. Tech is constantly changing. It's changing how we see the world, how we interact with it. So, yeah, thank you so much. That's all the questions I have for you. You did amazingly. Thank you so much. I'm
Great.
so excited to release this to the world. Anu, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Anita. It was such an exciting discussion today. And yeah, like, looking forward to following your podcast journey, which I've
Amazing.
already seen a couple of those. But
Yay.
yeah, thank you for having me
Thank you
today.
so much.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining me on Looks Good on Paper, powered by Willow. If today's 3-question sprint gave you something new to think about, hit subscribe and share with your network, because in hiring, and really in life, it's never just about what looks good on paper.